Here we go. It's a little. Yeah, it's a little. Cute. Hello everyone, welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about board games and board gamey things. I'm back again today with another pumped up Kickstarter. And today's preview is going to be on Druid Path. Now, as per usual, with my preview videos, this is not an official how to play. Rather, its purpose is a general overview to help you figure out whether or not this is a good fit for you. A few other things to note. Number one, prototype. Okay, so anything that you see is of course always subject to change. And if Druid Path seems like it's going to be a good fit for you, I'll have all the links, everything you need to know is going to be in the description below. So I say, without further ado, let's do some magic with our druids and learn a little bit more about Druid Path. Here we go. Druid Path is a solo monster taming game where you step into the role of an ancient druid wielding the primal forces of nature to tame beastborgs. Beastborgs are cyber-organic creatures forged from magic and machine. Your mission is to stop the Addax, which are rogue druids corrupted by forbidden technology who seek to control these powerful beings. Play strategically to defeat the Addax within 10 turns or fall into darkness and become one of them. Along the way, you will uncover magical items and activate robot companions to aid your quest. But beware, every item has a dark side and the Addax will use them to sabotage your journey. But what does any of that mean? I'm so glad you asked. Let's take a closer look at how the game works. So before we get into how it works, let's just take a look at the table setup right now. So this is the initial setup, and I have set the game up for what they recommend for your starting game. So for your starting game, they recommend that you use the Celthar Path. That's a bit of a tongue twister. It does have an easy mode and also identifies what your starting hand number is going to be. You are also going to have a Addax, and for the starting Addax, they recommend Killaran, and for the starting Druid, you are going to have Belthar. I just want to shout out that there are other paths that you can go on, there are other Addax that you can challenge, and there are other druids that you can be. So there is more variety than even what is here. These are double-sided, by the way. Okie dokie. So we have our Addax, our druid, and our path. Then on our path, we have beastborgs. Beastborgs are what we are trying to tame in order to defeat the Addax. We also have shadow beastborgs, which can only be tamed by the Addax. We also have our little robots. So each of the druids has their own kind of robot crew. And over here we have item cards, of which for this particular setup, we have drawn 4 to start, which once again is identified on our path card. Okay, and there is a handy dandy reference card. We all love to have it. We love it. Now, before we kind of get into how it works, there is one way that you can win this game. There's a few ways that you can lose. The way that we win this game is to defeat the Addax. So they start with 10 health points, or at least this one does. I think they all, nope, some of them have more health points than that. And in order to defeat them, we need to get them down to 0. Now we can lose, like I said, in one of a few ways. One of those ways is by the end of turn 10, we have failed to defeat the Addax. The turns are signified here on the path. Each round we are going to take a step along the path. The 10th step is at the top of the path. So at the end of that round, if we haven't done it, we have lost. Another way that you can lose the game is if at the end of your turn the item deck is completely depleted. And finally, of course, if the Addax defeats the Druid, then you lose as well. And the Druid also has a health tracker to keep track of that as well. The game is played, like I said, over 10 turns signified by the path card, and each turn is going to have 4 phases. So we have an encounter phase, we have a play phase, we have a Drac phase, and we have a combat phase, and we're going to go into what all of those mean as well. I just want to highlight a few of the things that we have over here. We've got some dice, we have some stamina trackers, and our Druid does use stamina in order to take actions. Once again, we will get to that. We also have these health tokens here. These are going to be used to kind of change attack values. So there's plus attack, there's minus attack. And then we also have gemstones, which are going to come into play for the beast orgs. Alrighty, let's get into the different phases, starting with the encounter phase. The first thing that we're going to do during the encounter phase is we are going to gain 3 stamina. Stamina can be carried over round if you happen to not use it all. However, you do have a max of 5, so if you end off on 4 and gain 3, you're actually only going to gain 1. So the first thing you do is you gain your stamina. Then you're going to take a step forward on the path. So every time we take a step forward on the path, the first thing that we're going to look at is the number on the circle. So I'm just going to leave this here for a second so you can kind of see. First step, we have the number 1. This is going to show us how many Beastborg cards we are going to draw and to put into the encounter lane, which is the lane in the middle. So you'll notice I have left some space. We have an encounter lane, we have the Darok's Beastborg lane, and we have the Druid's Beastborg lane. There's also another lane, which is going to kind of go this way, which is the robot lane. So for round 1, we would draw 1 of the Beastborg cards and we will put it into lane 1. There are 3 lanes total, 1, 2, 3, for each of the 3 that go this way. Hopefully, I hope I'm making sense. You guys understand. But if we were on the second step or the second round, then we are looking at drawing 2. So I'm just going to do this so that we have kind of a full amount of Beastborgs out so we can do some examples. But along the steps are also some other symbols, some of which are going to be getting you to draw some item cards. Other are going to be getting you to draw shadow Beastborg cards. So let's just do that. That's that symbol right there. Now, if I had been told to draw a shadow Beastborg and this was already full, because they're always going to enter into lane 1, you're just going to shift it over. So let's just do it like so. So that is the encounter phase. The next phase that we're going to go into is the play phase, which of course is the meat and potatoes. It's the meat and taters of this game. Now, during the play phase, this is where you're going to take your actions, and you can take any number of actions so long as you have the stamina to perform it, essentially. So the first thing that you can do is you can spend 1 of your stamina, boop, in order to take a gemstone. So we have red gemstones, yellow, green, and blue, all of which are going to be corresponding to kind of different elements, and the next thing that you can do, you'll understand why. So let's just say I spend 1 and I take 1 of the green gemstones, and I'm just going to put it right here underneath my items. Then the next action that you can take is to spend 1 stamina to attempt to tame a Beastborg. Now, the types of gemstones that the different Beastborgs need in order to be tamed are here in the upper left-hand corner. So I have 1 green, and this little cyber toad only needs 1 green, so I could spend this in order to tame the cyber toad. When you do that, it is going to come into the Druid's row, Druid's Beastborg row, essentially. Now, some of them might have, and let's just see. So some of them are going to have multiple things, as you can see, but some will also have symbols that are just kind of blank. That means you can spend any type of gemstone. Doesn't matter what the color is, okay? So I skipped ahead a little bit, but before I can actually tame this, I've got the gemstone to do it. The next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to roll these dice. The tame value, so not only do you have to pay the gemstone, there's also a tame value. So the cyber toad is 6, so I would need to roll these dice, and I got 4, 5, 6, 7. So long as you meet or exceed their tame number, you can then tame them. So now Now I bring the cyber toad to my side. If you don't roll what you need, the Beastborg will remain in the encounter roll and you cannot attempt to tame it again if you have more stamina in this round. It is important to note that shadow Beastborgs cannot be tamed by druids. They are only used by the Duroks, okay? So even though this little shadow cat, very cute, I'd love to have him on my team. I can't. I'm not allowed. I wish, but I'm not allowed. Then also, just to point it out, there are some of the cards that could have a tame ability. So this one says tame, draw a card. Some of them are going to have defeated abilities, wards, blocked. They all have different abilities. So just make sure that you pay attention to your cards that you have and what they all do. They also, just since we're already here, they're going to have a health value. So the cyber toad has 2, and they're going to have an attack value as well. Okay. The way that we kind of keep track of those things is through these health tokens. So if my frog is in a combat and he gets hit, I'm sorry, my cyber toad, you're not a frog, so much more than that. You're going to use these if they, of course, we'll get into that with the combat, but this is how you track their health. And then anytime there's any kind of thing that might manipulate their attack value, so maybe they get a boost, we do have the plus attack, and then on the flip side is a negative attack if they get something taken away. The next thing that you could do is you can spend stamina to use Beastborgs or Druids activated abilities, essentially. So some Beastborgs and Druids will have abilities that cost stamina in order to activate them, while others don't. So some of them do, some of them don't. But regardless of the stamina cost, each activated ability can only be used once per turn. So as an example here, the druid that I'm currently using, which is Balthar, does have a stamina ability. So right here, remove, I can spend a stamina to remove all of these negative hearts, so all wounds essentially, from one of my Beastborgs. So if my cyber toad had 1, I could spend 1 stamina to remove that so that he is in full health. The next thing that you can use stamina for is to play out item cards. Now, the amount of stamina is going to depend on the item card. As an example, the Cursed Skull requires 2 stamina. Lucky Brew, that's free. The single battery is 1. It's all going to be listed on the card. So you'll play an item card by spending its stamina cost. If I wanted to do the single battery, boop, I would just pay 1. And then you're going to resolve the effect that is shown on the light side of the card. So you will see all of these cards have a light side, and some of them are in different areas, and then they'll have a dark side. And like I mentioned, the dark side is a way that the Durok can manipulate kind of what you're doing. But you are going to spend the stamina and do whatever it says on the light side. As an example, with the single battery, I can activate 1 robot at full energy. I currently don't have any robots out. Let's just say I did. I could activate them. So the next action that you can take is to use a discard boost. So to use a discard boost, you're going to discard an item card without triggering its ability. So there's an icon in some of them, and it's not in all of them, but in the top right-hand corner that is going to signify what the discard boost is. And there's a few different types. As an example, with this one, it is giving you +2, basically bonus to your dice roll when you do that. So you can discard multiple cards if you wish. Like if you are going up for a Beastborg that, has a very high tame value, you may need to do that in order to add like numbers to your dice roll, essentially to make you stronger. The last thing that you can do is you can operate robot cards. So like I mentioned, each of the druids has robot cards. We've got different ones that are going to come out in the robot row as things happen. So let's just say we had this one out here, Protertaru. You can use your robot's ability. Now, this one's ability is that the druid gains 1 stamina. So you're going to kind of track the full energy and what they're able to do with these energy cubes. So if we had all of these out, they would all kind of start at full energy, and as you are using them, you are going to be kind of moving that down. So Balthar has these 3 different robots. Like I said, this one allows your druid to gain a stamina. This one says get 2 gemstones of your choice. And then finally, the Proto-Guru, druid gains +2 shield until the end of the turn. So all of the robots are going to do different things, and you can activate those by using battery cards. I will mention as well, there's only 3 lanes, like I said before. So let's just say, cool. Let's just say I had all 3 full, but I wanted to tame, we'll just make sure this is full, cute. I wanted to tame one of the other beastborgs that are up here. You can definitely do that, but you can only have a maximum of 3 at a time. So if all 3 lanes are filled, you want to tame a new one, you can replace one of your existing beastborgs by sending it to the discard pile. So, let's just say, I'm not even playing, but let's just say I wanted to get rid of my Cybertoad because Shroomling, I really wanted to tame and I wanted to put him out here. He is going to go into the discard pile, and then what we're going to do is transfer its HP ability. So you'll see the different beastborgs have an amount of hearts at the bottom of their card, which will be used to heal the druid. Next up, we have the Darok phase. So we get a turn, and the Darok's gonna get a turn. I just also have to say, if anybody has watched Teen Wolf, like the MTV Teen Wolf, I am currently rewatching it. I rewatch it every year. I am on season 3 with the Darok. So this is all very, like, cathartic for me because Darok is a term I'm very familiar with. First thing that we're going to do during the Darok phase is we are going to shift the Darok beastborg. So we're going to move all of the beastborgs in their row from right to left. So this one would have gone over here if it was over here. Okay. Then what the Darok is going to do is they are going to tame any beastborgs remaining in the encounter row. So this is one of the reasons, besides being able to heal your druid, why you want to tame lots of different beastborgs, so there's not that many available. But we're just going to do this, and I filled up the row. Just pretend that well, actually, here, we'll do it this way. If this was the situation, now what we are going to do is we are going to shift, bring them in. We have one more, so we have to shift these like so and bring this one in. Any that get kind of bumped off the side, we are going to see whatever their HP transfer value is, and we are going to heal the Darok that many HP, essentially. So Nero is healing him for 4. Luckily, they can't go over their max health, which is very helpful. But that's how that works. So they can tame from the encounter row as well. Then you're going to resolve any and all of the shadow tame abilities, none of which came up in this instance, but let me just see if I could. Oh, there's one right in front of me. If the Salamanthar had been tamed by the Darok, that's what we're looking at, this black side here versus the white side, which is what I would get to do. So if he had tamed this creature, the Darok draws 1 additional card during their Darok phase. Okay, so we're just going to look at the dark side essentially. Then finally, we are going to go into the Darok's draw. So they are going to draw the top item of the item, top card from the item deck, and then they are going to resolve whatever is in the dark section. So remember, they all have a light section and a dark section. In this instance, they will deal 2 damage to the Druid Beastborg with the highest attack. So in this instance, it would be the Salamanthar, boom, boom, which would then kill them because they only have 1 health. Then we are going to move into the combat phase. So this is where it's supposed to go down. Okay, we're fighting. I'm mad at him, he's mad at me, and we're going to fight it out using our Beastborgs, basically. Okay, so we are going to resolve attacks of the Beastborgs 1 lane at a time, starting with lane 1 and then finishing with lane 3. So 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom. For each attack, so for each lane, for each attack, you must do one of the following things. One of the options that you can choose is to simply do nothing and let the Beastborg attack your Druid. Okay, if I wanted to do nothing, the Desert Imp could attack my Druid and would hit them for 2 points. That's it. I'm not doing anything. I'm just like, yeah, you go girl, you do it. Or you can choose to attack the Duroc himself. So how you're going to do that is you are going to take these dice and you're going to roll them. Oof. All right, so we have 8. Okay, that is our value. Now, if the value of the dice that we rolled is equal to or greater than the Duroc's parry value, which is this value right here, for as an example in this setup, it's like, what word am I looking for? His parry value is 6 and I have rolled an 8. So I have exceeded his parry value. Then that means I'm successful. This is a successful attack. This is going to allow your Beastborg to deal damage to the Duroc without receiving any in return, unless the Duroc card will specify otherwise, and they're all going to say. So just as an example for Killiran, if Killiran's heart is 5 or lower at the start of the Duroc phase, he draws 1 extra card. So that's only going to take into effect during the Duroc phase and not during the attack. Okay? Or finally, you can choose to block the Duroc Beastborg, and that is essentially when our Beastborgs are going to be fighting each other instead of us attacking the Duroc or their Beastborgs attacking our Druid. Okay, so when we do this, what you're going to do is both of the Beastborgs are going to attack each other and they're going to do the damage. There's no shielding unless there's some special ability that says otherwise. You are going to deal out the damage to each of them depending on their attack. And if one of them is defeated, they are simply going to get discarded. Okay. Now I will mention, you may notice that there are some shields and we do have armor. So if this was the first attack, in which case of course it would be, I would actually take 1 less because I have 1 armor, but that only works for the first attack. The Druid in this instant also has 1 as well. And just once again, I said it once, I'll say it 100 times, just make sure you read all your cards because your different Beastborgs are going to be doing different types of things depending on what's going on at any given point of the game. All right? The end of combat phase is then going to happen after you've decided what your path is going to be, essentially. So if at the end of combat phase you have reached the final step of path 10 and have not defeated the Duroc, or the item deck is depleted, the game is just over. You lose. If neither of that has happened, you are going to start a new turn by repeating all of the actions starting with phase 1 and continuing on, and then you're going to keep fighting until you do reach a conclusion, once again by either defeating the Duroc or by one of the losing conditions. And that, my friends, is how Druid Path is basically played. You are going to just continue doing it until you win or you lose over those 10 rounds. I just also want to mention, like I said, there are lots of different keywords that we haven't even kind of like covered, but you can, I'll leave that for you to discover on your own. But there are ward abilities, there are blocked abilities, there's lots of stuff going on here. All right, so your question might be, who is this game for? Obviously, this is for solo players who enjoy a little bit of a dark, fantastical theme. This game is a challenge. It is not hard to play. Like, as I just basically went over pretty much all of the rules with, you know, missing some of the keywords, but the rules are very straightforward. How the game complexity comes in is in the strategy that you are building as you fight the Duroc and the Druid. It's going to matter the different types of Beastborgs that are going to come up. There's all different kinds. It's also going to be determined by what Druid you're using, what Duroc you're fighting, and these are all mix and match. So this is just the suggested first kind of setup, but everything is going to be dependent on your strategy, what comes up, who you're playing with, who you're playing against. All of the Druids, like I said, they all have their own robots. Their robots all do different things, and there is a big old stack of item cards, all of which, once again, are doing different things to help support you. So I've always said that a solo game should be very challenging, and this is definitely no exception. Also, if you are into like cute creatures, scary creatures, and magic and different abilities, this could be a great fit for you as well. The game is also pretty quick. It can take between 15 minutes to 30 minutes to play, depending on, how quick you can make decisions and how quickly you can either, defeat the Duroc or you die. One of those things can happen very quickly. Everything is kind of cascading, everything builds, and there's just a lot to pay attention to and lots of variety. So my friends, if any of that sounds like it might be something that you are super interested in, definitely make sure that you click the links in the description below to follow along Druid Path, get yourself a copy of the game, and add to that solo collection. I love seeing more solo-only games come out. It's compact, you could travel with this, it doesn't take up a ton of table space, and there's a lot of variability within this one box. But my friends, that is everything that I have for you today. Now, if you're interested in buying board games, for this one we're going to Kickstarter, but other games you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store, and for us that's the Boardroom Game Cafe. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. I hope to see you again soon. And now I say goodbye. Goodbye.